Hello and welcome to the She Reads Romance Books podcast, the ultimate show for romance book lovers looking for the best books worth reading. I'm your host, Leslie Murphy, and in each short episode, I share my favorite book list of recommendations so you know exactly what to add to your must-read list. Join me as I explore the romance genre and have fun collecting book boyfriends along the way, because life is better with a love story. All right. Hello, readers. Welcome back to the She Reads Romance Books podcast. Today's episode is devoted to a romance book category that I know a lot of readers can't get enough of, and that is small town romance. And here to join me to talk about small town romance, what we love about it, and offer some of her favorites in the category is romance author Laney Hatcher. So welcome, Laney.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Awesome. I'm so glad to have you here. So you're a North Carolina girl like me, and we have had a super hot summer, which I guess they sort of all are. We shouldn't be surprised by that. So are you counting down the days to fall, like finally is here?
Yes, 100%. I am a fall girl. And I am so excited to be able to go on my screen porch and, have tea in the morning. And even now it's probably like in the 70s early morning and pretty humid still. So I'm very excited to light all my fall scented candles and have that vibe for sure.
That sounds perfect. Yes. So, and I think fall, maybe this is why I'm extra excited for it. It's like the perfect season, right? For small town romance. I don't know if you would agree, because I don't know, there's something about the leaves turning, like all the fun festivals, go get your pumpkin and pick up the apples. And of course, I'm a little partial to those apple cider donuts. So yeah, I'm ready for fall.
Oh, for sure. I don't know what you're right. The leaves changing, it just makes me want like a bonfire and some flannel, and that's where I am right now. I'm so excited.
So are you someone to, like, everyone thinks fall may associate like pumpkin flavor everything? Are you someone who's like, yes, I'll take it in all things?
Yes, I'm so basic. I am so basic. But no, I love pumpkin spice. I'll also do some apple crisp, mix it up a little bit. But yeah, I am pumpkin spice everything team all the way.
I am too, though I have to admit, I think I had my first pumpkin spice latte, they talk about for the first time last year. And
oh, wow.
Although I said I only need one pump of the stuff, and that was like perfect for me. I think the 4, whatever they do, would have been like a little too much. But I was like, I'm a fan, but this could be bad, because now this fall I'll be like, oh, I need to treat myself today. But otherwise,
afternoon treat all the time.
Yeah, all the time. On the way to do a kid pickup, I might just go through that drive-through.
You need it. You deserve it.
Thank you. I do. But yeah, otherwise I'm pumpkin like everything. So yes. So small town romance, let's just dive right in, because we're already itching for it. Let's start where you telling me what you love so much about the category.
Oh gosh. I think the setting is a big comfort for me. I'm a small town girl. I was born and raised in Tennessee in a very small town. Everybody knew everybody. And especially as someone who left her small town, spent some time in a bigger city, and then came back to a small town, it is really just a comfort trope for me. That genre of romance is just something I look for. I love a good small town setting, and it doesn't even have to be in the South or the setting or the mountains, which is what I'm accustomed to. Small town wine country, I'm a fan. Or small town Colorado, I'm there for it. So yeah, it's definitely, the setting is a big part of it, and it's just, it's what I'm used to. So in real life, so it's really fun to step into that setting.
I love the setting too, because I feel like authors who do it really well, like, make that such a obviously key part to the story. But I feel like also small town romance, also people like make these incredible, you fall in love with the main characters, right? But then there's also these amazing secondary characters that are part of the town that you just fall in love with too, from, whether it's the mayor, or just the, elderly person that everybody loves. I think that is such a fun piece that you really get in small town romance and maybe not necessarily in any other category.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. The zany cast of characters, that's a trope all on its own. And there's usually, my cat is wandering in here causing havoc. Sorry. You'll hear her
And
crying
usually
in a
there's
minute.
pets. Absolutely. Right.
She was walking back there and I was like trying to move my head, like, yep. But yeah, there's usually the zany cast of characters that just really reinforces that you're in this sort of tiny town environment where it's not what you're used to, and a meddling grandma, or, and it just, it really lends to the vibe 100%.
Yes. And the fact too, not only just the community focus, but I feel like almost like a big family focus. And that sort of lends itself to that there's so many fun small town romance done series, because you fall in love with the setting and you don't want to leave it and all these other secondary characters. So then you're like, oh, but it's this great series. So you can follow, other family members getting there happily ever after. There are other community members that you fall in love with. So I love that aspect too, where you don't have to like just leave it right away. Right.
Yeah. It's like, thank goodness there are cousins or brothers or sisters, all of similar ages, who also need to fall in love. Like, thank goodness.
Thank God they're all single now. Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Oh my gosh. Well, so not only do we love reading it, but you've started a brand new small town romance series. I've read already both of these so far. Your prequel, Love 'Em or Leave 'Em. I'm always afraid I'm going to say it wrong.
It's a mouthful.
Titled.
I don't know what I was doing.
And then Take It or Leave It. So can you tell us a little bit about this book and what readers are going to love about it?
Sure. I hope you love the small town setting. Kirby Falls is entirely fictional, but it comes from a place of inspiration. And I talk about it a little bit in my author's note. Hendersonville, North Carolina has been an inspiration. There's an apple festival. There's, it's very similar. A lot of things I mention in the book, and I talk about that in the author's note too. But I hope you enjoy sort of how welcoming and warm it feels to be in a community like that. And Take It or Leave It, and really the whole series. It's going to be a 5-book series. It focuses on these 2 apple farms, and they exist right across the street from each other. And they're rivals in a way and rivals not in a way. One is a lot smaller than the other, but there's a few characters you're going to meet who really consider them rivals. And it's a lot of fun just exploring the farm and what it offers. Crazy things, like an apple cannon and the hayride, the stuff that you like experiencing in fall. So I tried to really bring that forward. And Take It or Leave It, we've got a sort of a hometown hero. He's a former professional baseball player who made it to the major leagues, pitched 2 games, and then got injured and was released from his team. So he had to come back home. It was not in his life plan, not in any plan. And so now he's managing his family's farm. He's working there. He's sort of a jack of all trades. He handles it all. And he's just genuinely a good guy. And that's a lot of the heroes I write and enjoy reading. So that's part of it. He's deep down a really good guy. And, maybe he's bitter and maybe he doesn't want to be there, but he's going to take care of his family and he's going to do it right. So he's working at this farm for the past almost 10 years. And along comes a tourist, and he doesn't love tourists despite his job. And they have a really good meat disaster. I love it when there's a memorable opening. So I tried to make this one really pack a punch. And I'll let you read that for yourself.
You did. I was going to say, I love a good meet cute or meet disaster, as you said. And this one was awesome.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, so this tourist comes along. She's on an extended vacation from Detroit. She's used to the big city. She's never climbed a tree. She's never seen a 4-leaf clover. She's, never been on a hayride, never done all of these things. And she's experiencing them all and sort of getting absorbed into Kirby Falls. She's joining birdwatching groups. She's joining a bowling league. She's going to trivia night at breweries. She's really getting immersed in this community and just falling in love with it. And that's, there's the love story that happens between Will and Becca, my main characters, but there's also this love story of Becca in this town and hopefully the reader in this town, because I want you to love it, because I'm writing 5 books about it and I hope you want to stay. I hope you want to stay in Kirby Falls a little longer. So yeah, that's it's sort of Will's grumpiness and Becca is super sunshine, a rainbow wrapped in sunshine is how someone described her in a review, and I love that. But she's also someone you want to be friends with, like, and she has good emotional depth too. She has a history, and you find out about that too with her family. But yeah, it's just sort of their very slow burn, fall into love in this vacation sort of romance setting that hopefully the vacation can turn into something more. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. I've been teasing it and plotting it and planning it for years. I know you mentioned I wrote historical romance and I'm sort of shifting gears. So it's literally been 2 years that I started taking notes on this series, and I've been writing down dialogue when it comes to me in the shower or driving in my car. That's usually where things hit. I have a little notebook I keep in my car with me so I can pull over and write things down safely for all motorists nearby. But yeah, so I'm super excited to see it come to fruition and for people to read it. And I'm so proud of it, and it's my favorite thing I've ever written. So I'm very excited.
That's awesome. Well, I did. I absolutely loved it. Will, I loved how you called him, her, Becca's friends, I think, call him the lumber snack, which I'm like,
Snack.
yes, he totally is. He's just this like guy that you can't help fall for because he is. He's just like this good guy who's sort of dealing, with his own sort of stuff. But I love how but also, like you said, the town just totally falls for Becca, who you just want people to love her, given her backstory and how she does just throws herself into everything. At one point, you kind of wrote down or you gave us the week because I'm like, when is she doing all of this stuff? She is so involved with everything, which is awesome. But I'm like, so what day is what? And it was great because I'm like, yeah, she's bowling, she's bird watching, she's playing piano for the elderly at the assisted living, and she's working with the teens at the library. I'm like, she has made herself a staple in this town.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. But yeah, what I also think loved about it is that you didn't really give it this unnecessary drama, to the story. I mean, they have their arcs and their things they're working through, but I'm like, this didn't need that. And I so appreciated that you didn't give it this like craziness to it too. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's a balance. I think I remember plotting this book specifically and messaging one of my author friends and being like, is this what it's like to write a slice of life book? Did I just do that? And she was like, well, I mean, if you don't need a kidnapping, don't throw it in. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
That was not the vibe of the story. It's very, sort of low angst and feel good. And I wanted it to feel like you're wrapped up in a warm hug. That's what I was going for. So I'm glad you appreciate that.
I did. And I felt like you plotted just enough to like get us hooked on the town and the series without like throwing a bunch of random people to preview for the comings where I was sort of already confused. But have you plotted out all 5? Like, is that your style that you're like, this is so the Easter eggs you do want to like drop in all the other ones? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a plotter. My spreadsheets have spreadsheets. So it's all like, yeah, I know what's going to happen. Big generalities. And like I said, I've been taking these notes, but I've been taking them for all the characters. I knew who exactly was going to end up with who and how that was going to happen. And so, yeah, I'm a big plotter, and that's not everybody's thing. And I totally get that. And it's just the way that I work very linearly. I work, off of an outline. So it was just another step to outline the full series. Yep.
Are you going to make Mac's story like one of the last ones? My mom's just feeling because I'm like, I bet she's just going to let us like really tease that one out because you want her story so bad. So I'm like, I bet that's going to be one of the last.
I am dying to write Mac and Brady's story like you would not believe. So no, it's going to be book 3.
Okay.
So yeah. So for book 2, we're going to flop over and go over to the Judd Orchard side of things and meet everybody there.
Fun.
And that'll be a good segue into book 3, where you're going to have sort of the joining of the 2 rival apple farms. And then there will be some other things that happen after that. So, but yeah, Mac and Brady, they'll be book 3, and that'll be a lot of fun. I've got some plans. There's a hot wing eating contest that's going to happen, and it's going to be a thing that's inspired by real life. My husband and hot wings. It's a thing, but we will find out. I'm
Okay,
excited.
well, I'm already ready. I'm already ready for it. Yes, sounds exciting. Well, I don't live. I mean, it's not a hike, but Hendersonville, right?
Yeah.
So, the Orchard Festival. I would be a total leaper coming
Yep.
in, but
Oh, I started as a leafer and then I moved here. So
and
you're
okay,
allowed. It's
so
totally
I'm
allowed.
allowed.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this might be our year. I mean, we've been here a couple of years now, and we haven't really done the whole fall festival thing in North Carolina. So this has sort of pushed me over the edge to be like, I
Yeah.
think this is the year.
Yeah. Live it. You got to experience it. I mean, it's crazy busy. And I will say we moved here 3 years ago, but I had visited Asheville and stuff obviously in the past, and it's different. It's a little different. And the tourist population has definitely picked up. And I talk about this like in the book, like how they're all over the place. They're in your restaurants, they're at your favorite brewery, they're everywhere. But I mean, it's fine. Like I'm in a tourist town. But it was like when we first moved here, you just saw them in the fall. And it's like now most of the summer is very touristy. But it's fun. We go places like we'll have a date night and go to a brewery and we'll meet somebody from Florida. And they're like, yeah, we come here every year. We bring our camper and they talk about all the places they visit. They even we went to Maine recently, and I got recommendations from people I met in North Carolina who were from Florida who had visited Maine. It was like this whole fun collaboration. Like it's nice to meet people, and the people that visit here are genuinely excited to be here. So that's always a fun treat.
That is fun. I love it.
So you
Well,
should definitely do it.
so I should do it. Okay,
Yeah.
it's on the list. We're gonna hopefully find a parking spot and brave all the tourists and eat ourselves silly with all the good stuff that's there.
Perfect. I'll take you around.
Maybe
we'll have a
even
good
start
time.
our own hot wings. Yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
But so small town romance, you're sort of pivoting to it, but tell me, so how does that compare writing versus historical? Because I love all your historical romances. Is it very different, or just, writing is writing for you? I don't know.
It's a little different for sure. And if you readers out there have read my historical romance, my voice is a little more modern. I write in first person, which is, not what you normally see in historical romance. So I had to watch myself a little bit, not get too cheeky or try to be too funny, dial it back a little bit. But there's a lot of similarities. I joked that, I'm switching to small town romance. It's like my historical romance, just with less cravats. So, it's definitely still my voice. It's still authentic. But yeah, it's different. You've got more research you have to do in historical, obviously. I started out doing the small town romance thing with a setting that I knew. Like there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, baseball stuff I had to research, and there was some other stuff I had to research. But like the small town element, it's like born and raised. I had that down. Historical romance, I am like looking up word origins. I am figuring out cool things to put in. It's like, was that invented yet? Can I say that? Can they have running water? It was just like a whole different thing. But I think what I love most about writing historical romance, and I still like, honestly, I have another series plotted that I would love to go back and write historical romance. So, I mean, I don't feel like I'm done with it, but I think this is a pivot. I'm going down a different path for a little bit. But yeah, so it's different, but a lot the same. But I enjoy both for sure.
Very cool. Well, in addition to Take It or Leave It, right? What's another one of your favorite small town romance books that you can suggest to us readers?
I have, let's see, Love Light Farms by B.K. Borgenson. I honestly think that whole series is probably my favorite series of the last decade. It's just so subtle and sweeping and just high romance. Like when you talk about fantasy, you talk about these high fantasy books. I'm like, Love Light Farms is just high romance. Like it feels like a warm hug, and the progression of the series and how the seasons are done. And it just wrapped up so beautifully. I don't know if you've read Charlie and Nova's story yet in Business Casual.
I did. It was on my list to share today, actually. I loved Business Casual. Yes.
Yeah. So good. And that's a good example of a series that you want to stay in. Like you are dying to stay in Maryland with those characters and just get snippets, and you're in book 4 and you are dying to see what Stella and Luca are doing from book 1. You know what I mean? So it definitely accomplishes that. And the writing is just fantastic. And I'm such a fan. I'm such a fangirl of that one. And, of course, I have to mention The Winston Brothers by Penny Reed, because I don't think you can talk about small town indie romance without talking about that series. And I remember, it's small town Tennessee, from very close to my hometown in Tennessee. And I just remember reading it and thinking how does she know this? Like, she lives in Florida. What is she doing? And
Right.
we've had conversations over the years and talked about things. So I know where she got a lot of inspiration there, but it's just such a charming series. And, you meet these brothers in Ashley's book, who was part of a different series. And that's such a good example of when the characters take over. She spun that out, and there's all these brothers, and it's just, it's small town romance, but it has so many layers, and there's so many secrets and hidden depths, and you're finding out and learning more about the family as the series goes on. And I'll always be a Penny Reed fan, and that series specifically, I'm so excited to see it come to bookstores and hopefully a television series. And I'll be there with bells on. Can't wait to learn more about that. And another great one is the Bootleg Spring series by Lucy Score and Claire Kingsley. Those are funny and just, it has a really great connecting thread. There's a mystery that goes all the way through it. I don't know if you've read those, but the siblings are great. It's a good example of imperfect characters, and they all have a journey, and the character arc is really strong. And I'm just a big fan of Lucy and Claire, and they do an amazing job co-writing that series. So it's a good one.
They are definitely, all of the authors that you mentioned are sort of my go-to when I think of small town romance. Absolutely. And yeah, I loved Business Casual, BK Borson's latest, and Love Light Farms, because I felt like Charlie just fit in that small town, and he just so wanted to be a part of it, and from all the little things he did, even though he lived 4 hours away, and so I thought, even at book 4, you're really bringing this small town feel to it. I loved it. And Penny's books, gosh, they're just phenomenal. And the fact that she can weave, everyone is sort of their own standalone, but it's this weaving story that goes in throughout it with the motorcycle club, right?
Yep.
But another author I think of sometimes with small town romance, in addition to the ones you talked about, is Melanie Harlow.
Yeah.
I would say one recommendation is Drive Me Wild. That's the first in her Bellamy Creek series. But she has the Cloverleaf Farm series, up in Michigan, and then the Cloverleaf Next Generation series. But if I just, a quick, cute rom-com, small town romance, Melanie Harlow is always a great one.
Yeah.
That one's between the grumpy mechanic who helps the debutante that literally crashes into town. That was fun. I was trying to think of some other maybe throwbacks. One that really stuck with me, I don't know if you read it, Dance Away With Me by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. Came out a couple of years ago.
No, I haven't read anything recent by her, but back in her, is it Texas Stars days? Those were
Stars.
Yeah, her sports romance. I used to devour those. So yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. She's a phenomenal writer, just a legend.
And so funny, but this is sort of a departure from that sports romance series that is just, I devoured every one of those books. But this one really just grabbed me from the start and felt very small town romance, because she just weaved in a bunch of different themes. There was grief and loss and prejudice and ignorance and sort of all of these things, where this woman moves to the wildwoods of Tennessee, actually. So you would like it. But she's angry. She's really angry because her husband died and left her. And so she's sort of consumed by this grief. And then she moves into this cabin and ends up meeting this famous street artist who has his sort of story. And then there's these survivalists living in the wild. And then the small town folk who don't really like any outsiders. But it all comes together in this really, really sort of poignant and captivating story. So Dance Away With Me, I would recommend that one.
Okay, great. Yeah, check that one out.
Yeah. So anyway, but moving on from that, I know readers can get the prequel to your book on laneyhatcher.com, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then read Take It or Leave It, which should be available once this episode goes out.
Yeah.
But tell us about, so you have another small town romance. It's going to be releasing in October. Is that something that you can tell us a little bit about?
Yep. Yeah. Isn't the cover pretty? And check out the back. It's got the little boba tea and then it lists everybody there. So Fall Me Maybe is part of a collaborative series. It's called the Cozy Creek Collection. And it's a group of us authors, 6 of us. We got together a while ago and discussed doing this and creating a small town and all of us writing in it at the same time. All the stories are happening at the same time, the same fall. So you will see characters show up here and there, but each book is a complete standalone with an HEA. But it's just a lot of fun to be in this sort of shared space with these authors and sending messages and saying, what was the name of that food truck? And I'm going to put this in here. And, I need her to serve coffee at this place. And, so it was a lot of fun. And, I know Smarty Pants Romance does that. I was in a series on my own over there, but they do a lot of collaborative series. So I was really familiar with the process and, sharing information and stuff that way to build a series together as a group of authors. And it's just a really fun thing because you have readers coming from different places and meeting new authors. And it's just a great system. And it's been really fun. The releases start on the 19th and we're releasing every other day until you get to mine on August 30th. And I know it's crazy to have two releases
August. Why did I say
back to
October?
back.
Yes.
It's been a thing. It's back to back, but I'm happy to be included. I'm happy to be involved. And Fall Me Maybe it was an idea for a story that I had that I didn't have a home for. It wasn't going to go into Kirby Falls, and I didn't know if I wanted to start a new series. But when I was approached about this, I was like, bingo, this is going to be perfect. It was about the heroine falling in love with her Uber driver. It's like, and when I was like thinking about it, I like messaged my author friends. I was like, have you guys ever heard of this? Like, have you read this anywhere? Like, am I being completely original right now? And I'm sure I'm not. I'm sure there's a book out there, but they were like, dang it, I really like that. I wish I thought of it. And that's usually how in a group chat, you're like, yes, I got it.
You're onto something.
I'm onto something. I gotta like flesh this out. So yeah, it is a very fun, it's low angst, it's a fun rom-com. It's I hate to say light and fluffy because I feel like that gets some negative connotations surrounding it, but it is like, it's just a lot of fun. It's very idiots to lovers. Like they are dopey. I joke around that I accidentally wrote Anna and Kristoff from Frozen because they are just, those are the vibes. So yeah, the heroine, her car is in the shop for an extended period of time and they are in a very small town. It is an Uber equivalent because I couldn't really say Uber. So there's a whole story behind that. You'll figure it out when you read it. But so there are only 2 rideshare drivers in this town. So she keeps getting this guy and is sort of like, man, I have more fun with him than the first dates that he's taking me on. She's like really decided to dedicate herself to dating online. And she keeps getting ghosted and she keeps getting stood up and all these horrible things. One guy brings his mom to the date. It's a whole thing. You don't really see the dates firsthand. You hear her telling them about them because nobody wants to read about the heroine with another dude for most of the book.
Right.
But he's taking her on these first dates and they are falling in love and she's crashing and burning and he's picking her back up 15 minutes later. And then they're going for milkshakes or they're going to go hang out. And it's how they slowly not slowly, but it's how they fall in love. And, this is a trend in a lot of my books. I like for them to be friends first. I like a little bit of slow burn or a lot of slow burn. Like I just like to establish that connection and that's just a me thing. I also like to read insta-love books where they are having fun times on, chapter 3. So, it's there's a spectrum. So, but this book is, they become friends because he's a little skittish. He's a little gun shy. You find out why as we go along. But they get to know each other and they have a lot of fun together. And she does eventually get her car back at some point. So, and the friendship remains, but they have a good time. So yeah, this is in Cozy Creek and I'm so excited to be part of this with Lyra Parrish, Nora Everly, Piper Sheldon, Erin Branscombe, and Ennie Amanda. And Ennie is actually the one, she designed all the covers for the series. and I'm in love with it. It's just, they turned out so great. We've got our street in the background, and we all sort of have this shared street. And she put the car in for me, which is Noah's, rideshare car.
Yeah.
And I almost died. I was like, I can't believe you put the car in. The Bronco's in there. I was so excited. So yeah, it is a fun time. If you need a laugh, go for that one for sure.
It sounds awesome. I love when people have dates that they sort of crash and burn, but then there's somebody's like, they find just a great time with them after. That sounds awesome. And all the titles of that series, I put them all up on my upcoming release page. I mean, hysterical. I mean,
We love a pun.
perfect.
We do.
Perfect punning. Yes, absolutely. But what is the process like? Like, I'm intrigued. Like, how do, what was it, 6 authors come together and even begin to start something? Like, that must be fun because
It is fun.
I
yeah.
imagine writing becomes sort of this solitary process in a good way for, the introverts like me. But yet to also be in this space with others, I think must be really cool.
Yeah. We had several calls along the way where we talked about the general series and the setting, Cozy Creek, what it was going to look like. We have a secret Pinterest board where we are sharing what things look like here and there, and just making sure we're all staying on the same page. We, obviously we didn't want to write for single moms, or, we talked about our tropes ahead of time and the general idea for our story. Everybody went through those very early on to make sure we were all in a good place. And then we started writing. And we checked in with each other along the way. And writing can be a very lonely, solitary sort of thing. And it's nice to throw up a Zoom call and you guys are just writing with each other in the background. No one's saying anything. We don't have to share a word count. We don't have to say what our favorite line was. You can also do that. I've been in those Zoom calls too. But it is nice to just feel like you're in a shared space, and having that setting, having Cozy Creek was a shared space for all of us to contribute to. And it was a lot of fun. I said, I'm having a fall festival. Here's what it's going to look like. If you guys want to use that fall festival too, please do. And then I would maybe message Piper and say, hey, I want your characters to show up in my epilogue. Is that cool with you? And she's like, of course, here's what they're wearing. It's a lot of fun. It's good.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Was Small Town Romance sort of a first for anybody in the group, or you can be like, okay, let me help you out here, or I've lived it and I like it, or
but it was different. I mean, it's Colorado, so I was like, do you guys have lightning bugs there? Do you have sweet tea? How do I do this?
Yeah.
Is it cold at night? So yeah, there was some research involved, and obviously Cozy Creek is completely fictional, but I used Telluride for weather related purposes to make sure I wasn't too far off base, or full moons. Like, I check random things to make sure that they're accurate. It's a problem, but it's a lot of fun.
I don't think we fully appreciate, as readers, how much authors go into that research and checking things and all of that. So thank you for all that time that we probably just gloss over and take for granted. But yeah.
Oh man, I've gone down so many rabbit holes that were totally unnecessary, and readers will never ever know. And it ate up so much time. But I mean, it is what it is. And I think that's part of the process too. You've got to build in extra days of writing for ridiculous rabbit holes that are never going to make it on page. So
that's awesome. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing about both of these books. I know everyone's going to put them on their TBR list, but before you go, I might keep you for a few extra minutes to talk a little bit more about you as the reader, but can you tell listeners a little bit about where they can find you online or social so that they never miss an upcoming release from you?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook business page. I'm posting there daily, but I am most engaged and most interactive over on Instagram. I use my stories daily to talk about what I'm reading and writing in my life. I share snippets and pictures and lots of things over there. I'm also on TikTok with, imagery and aesthetics set to music, and just so you can get the vibes of the books over there. And Threads also. I'm Pinterest. I'm Spotify. I'm everywhere.
Yes.
I'm everywhere all the time. But if you're an Instagram person, that is where my heart is generally. And that's also where my time is.
And what's your
sort of
handle
always.
again? Is it just Laney Hatcher or?
Laney.Hatcher. You can find me right there.
And there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this episode on small town romance and my chat with Laney Hatcher. Don't forget to grab Take It or Leaf It, which released on August 20th, which is available in Kindle Unlimited, as well as Fall Me Maybe, which releases on August 30th, also available in Kindle Unlimited. These are the perfect small town romances for the upcoming fall season, so I hope you check them both out. So you don't forget to read these books or the rest in both of these small town romance series. You need to write them down on your TBR list, and there's no better place than in the romance book reading journal. This was designed by me, especially for the romance book reader, that is full of pages to capture the books for your TBR list, as well as all of your favorite book boyfriends, your favorite authors, your favorite books by specific tropes, and so much more. So you can grab your copy of the Romance Book Reading Journal by clicking the link in the show notes or by going over to shereadsromancebooks.com and you can find it there. Also, if you want to hear more from Laney or watch the exclusive video interview, you can join the She Reads Romance Books book club, which you can gain access to this video and all of my author videos that are exclusive to book club members. Just head on over to shereadsromancebooks.com/book club and you can join today. This month for August, we are wrapping up Summer Romance by Annabelle Moynihan. And actually, we are talking with Annabelle tonight, August 26th, in the author Q&A chat. So if you read the book, or even if you just haven't read the book and you want to talk with Annabelle, join tonight so you can join us. Otherwise, join in the fun for our September book of the month, which I will be announcing very soon. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. And as always, happy reading, because life is better with a love story. That's all for this episode of the She Reads Romance Books podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and found some new books to add to your TBR list. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. It really helps me reach more romance book lovers like you, and I appreciate your support. If you're a book boyfriend collector like me, then you'll want to join my email list so you never miss a podcast episode or a new book list. Just visit shereadsromancebooks.com/join and sign up today. As a thank you, I'll instantly send you my list of top 10 book boyfriends that will make you swoon. Trust me, you don't want to miss this list. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.